The Star Child, to Miss Margaret Tennant, Mrs. Asquith, by Oscar Wilde, narrated by Ray Ritchie. Once upon a time, two poor woodcutters were making their way home through a great pine forest. It was winter and a night of bitter cold. The snow lay thick about the ground, and upon the branches of the trees the frost kept snapping the little twigs on either side of them as they passed. And when they came to the mountain torrent, she was hanging motionless in the air, for the Ice King had kissed her. So cold was it that even the animals and the birds did not know what to make of it. "Ugh," snarled the wolf as he limped through the brushwood with his tail between his legs. "This is perfectly monstrous weather. Why doesn't the government look to it?" "Weet, weet, weet," twittered the green linnets. "The old earth is dead, and they've laid her out in her white shroud." "The earth is going to be married, and this is her bridal dress," whispered the turtle doves to each other. Their little pink feet were quite frostbitten, but they felt it was their duty to take a romantic view of the situation. "Nonsense," growled the wolf. "I tell you that it is the fault of the government, and if you don't believe me, I shall eat you." The wolf had a thoroughly practical mind and was never at a loss for a good argument. "Well, for my own part," said the woodpecker, who was a born philosopher, "I don't care an atomic theory for explanations. If a thing is so, it is so, and at present it is terribly cold." Terribly cold it certainly was. The little squirrels who lived inside the tall fir tree kept rubbing each other's noses to keep themselves warm, and the rabbits curled themselves up in their holes and did not venture even to look out of the door. The only people who seemed to enjoy it were the great horned owls. Their feathers were quite stiff with rime, and they did not mind, and they rolled their large yellow eyes and called out to each other across the forest, "Twit, twoo, twit, twoo, what delightful weather we're having!" On and on went the two woodcutters, blowing lustily into their fingers and stamping with their huge iron-shod boots into the caked snow. Once they sank into a deep drift and came out as white as millers are when the stones are grinding. And once they slipped on the hard smooth ice, where the marsh water was frozen, and their faggots fell out of their bundles and they had to pick them up and bind them together again. And once they thought they had lost their way, and a great terror seized on them, for they knew the snow is cruel to those who sleep in her arms. But they put their trust in the good Saint Martin, who watched over all travellers, and retraced their steps and went wearily, and at last they reached the outskirts of the forest.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?